Okay guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we have a brand new product. It's been a while since we've had anything really new coming through the door.
Feels like ages.
Does PGA show early season, we obviously had some new products, and the way things have went in 2020, we've not really had too much to test that's been new.
Kind of got the teaser while we were in Carlsbad actually in December. I remember the Taylormade guys saying, yeah, like fall 2020, look for new irons.
Yeah.
And I guess it's now basically fall 2020.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I mean, they obviously start the development of these products so far in advance. They already knew they had something pretty special coming in the works, and really building upon what has been a really strong few years for Taylormade with regards to the irons.
Definitely. And it kind of seemed like this is the release that everyone's been waiting for. Obviously P790 was good for a ton of people, but I think the players category, unless you fit into 760, you sort of had a gap in there where you're like, well, what should I play?
Definitely, and 770 was actually a pretty good iron, but it just didn't capture the imagination for whatever reason. 750 was a custom option, and really not that many people had their hands on it. So what we're seeing from this new lineup is, for me, a sort of a slightly more robust lineup for Taylormade. So,
I agree. Yeah.
From the blade all the way through to the 770, and leaving the 790 alone because it's just going to continue as of obviously last year's product. It will continue kind of semi-dominating its category of sort of players' distance.
Yeah. And now some great options to combo. If that 790 is good for you, that 770 will combo nice. These MCs could combo nice.
Yeah, and we're gonna try to split these videos up, guys, just so you know. We're not going to sort of do a whole roundup. We will try and give every iron its individual place, and discuss them individually. So, Matty boy, you have one that I think will sort of firstly capture the eye.
I agree.
And then people will be very curious to sort of try it and see how it compares to other sort of muscle cavities in the market.
I think it's going to be more for the traditionalist. The 770, the profile is really good, but not everyone will want that kind of, I guess, multi-material type thing. Yeah. This is, to me, sort of the more traditional one that isn't a blade. So I would imagine a ton of people will ask to try that. Yeah. I mean, it looks really good. I think the top line is nice and thin, but it isn't a tiny looking iron. Yeah. I try to compare it to 620 CBs from Titleist. Right. To me, the 620 is a little bit more intimidating looking than this. This is a little bit more friendly, but still, I think it looks really good.
Yeah, there's been some subtle adjustments to the blade length based on tour feedback. They wanted to lengthen that blade, and they've done that by sort of, I think it's like a 1.3 millimeters. I know in the testing that Rory done with this one, he commented and he actually said, is this one meant to feel more solid than the 750? Interesting. And, you know, Matt Bovey, who leads the design team for this stuff, you know, he said he took some personal sort of gratification in that, because obviously for him, when they're trying to input some design influence into these irons, and they hear a player like Rory McIlroy pick up on it and actually verbally sort of give that feedback, it's hugely rewarding for these guys.
I can imagine, yeah.
TP5X, your golf ball down there?
TP5X is here, yep.
Okay. So based on that feel that we touched upon earlier, Matty, I'd be curious as we go along here to hear your feedback, because one thing Taylormade has done, that's a hell of a strike there, starting out with a unicorn, a 0-0.
It felt good.
Really good. When Taylormade designed this new lineup, one of the first things that I kind of picked up on listening and reading the marketing material was this 200-pound press that they talk about, that they use to sort of compact the grain structure on the metal. Right. So what basically that is, and you've heard other companies like Mura talk about the pound and press. Obviously, you know, we've got Mizuno and their sort of HD forging process. They're really talking about the quality of the metal structure, right? You're trying to tighten those grains for additional feedback and all that stuff that translates in your ears, in your hands, and then ultimately that's the feedback that you receive from that golf club. Right. Trying to make that as sort of positive and as sort of solid as possible is why they've went to that additional that additional step.
Gotcha. And I mean, it sounds like the type of thing that they would do to make sure tour players are going to use it. The feel is probably one of the first things that they notice after the look at a dress.
Definitely, yep. And it kind of tells me that Taylormade are going to be very focused in this area. When they're finding a new way to make their forged clubs better,
right?
You're going to something like this. It tells me this is a direction that they will be following for quite some time.
Gotcha. Definitely tell that was thin. Very nice.
Couple sprinkled in there that you didn't quite catch, and it's interesting. There's a good bit of drop off in ball speed, so I want to highlight that purely just to temper the ambitions of the player who maybe thinks that going into this iron from something like a P760 is the right thing to do. Be careful with that.
Yeah, true enough.
Because that's some reasonable drop off, and that's not a knock against the club. That's just a sign that this club is demanding of your striking. You are going to have to be on your A game and know that your striking is on point.
Yeah.
To not be dropping, a full club in distance.
True. I mean, it wouldn't have been designed for the low part of the face to be all that, springy. The other clubs in the line may have more of that towards
there's no contribution from the technology on that front at all. That sounded the best one.
They really feel really solid. Sound good.
Love that one. Lots of combo options with this in the blade. I can see coming, Matty.
Oh, totally.
Lots of people kind of comboing those two up, and they'll combo really well. They'll transition nicely. The top line is marginally thicker than the blade, which in the longer irons will be more to the liking and just give you that little bit of confidence.
Definitely.
I can see someone like a Rory who has been playing the 760 long irons. I can really see him going towards this type of iron in his longs.
I mean, it's definitely still a player's iron. We looked at the 3 and 4 of the full set. It's not big.
Yeah.
I mean, does it have a little bit more offset and meat than the blade? Maybe.
Yeah.
But as you said, I don't think you need to be looking at this iron going, oh, it's a cavity. It's super forgiving. It's marginally forgiving.
And there's sort of 3 great strikes and then one snuck low and one snuck heel side, and that's just to what we were talking about upon the drop offs.
Yes.
Launch and spin are all nice and tight. It was just those 2 that dropped the speed just a hair. Beauty. Beauty.
I mean, they're, for something that's probably fairly traditionally lofted and not a ton of, I guess, techiness by today's standards, they've got plenty of pop on them.
It's not hanging about, is it? 137 efficiency, 190 carry, and a 7.
It's a lot.
Yeah, and you've not jumped all over it to get it. You've just flipped your shot shape around a little bit, so you've lowered your launch, lowered your spin, all by design, and got it a little bit closer to the center. That's really, really good.
Offset, I would say, is, given the category, I wouldn't want to see it less than this. It's there. It's not no offset, obviously, but it's pretty minimal. I would say. Is that kind of what you noticed when you looked at it?
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I just see. In terms of the iron categories, I see the MC and the MB over to this side, and I see the other ones, the 770 and 790s, quite a bit over to the other side.
Makes sense.
I don't see them sort of being tight to one another.
Gotcha. And maybe, I mean, we'll have to do our testing with the 770, but maybe the player that likes those throughout. The thing is, they're nice in profile even in the short iron, so maybe you don't even need to combo those up. The 770 is more of a standalone thing, and the blade and the MC are meant to pair together. Yeah.
I think with the design of the back of them as well, when we see the kind of shaping and almost that kind of triangular muscle.
Yeah.
I think looking at the blade, you'll see the same thing in that triangular muscle, but you'll see it more toe side, just to offset obviously the CG a little bit, and people will really like that transition from those two. I mean, hat off to Taylormade in terms of the look. I love what they've done in terms of the look of it. Definitely a nod to some of the previous TP irons of the past.
Yeah, try to put a picture up of some of the ones you showed me earlier, but it's got that sort of heritage of this.
Those grooves on the back.
Grooves on the back of the club and the silver. The satin kind of, I would call it subtle satin. It's not super satin, but it's, you know, it's not high polished chrome. Definitely. I think it looks really, really good. I
know the guys at Taylormade were really, I mean, it's great to hear them and how passionate they are about the brand. You know, they're talking about the T-bug in the toe in the back and how much they love the way that pops like a jewel. The high polished T-bug,
it looks great.
It just looks classy.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one thing. Minimalist approach, no paint fill, no taking all that sort of stuff away and giving the players what they look for. I mean, we see people on Instagram all the time taking irons in to have the paint fill stripped out and just bring it back to what it is at its raw content, which is just a nice, soft, solid feeling muscle cavity.
Yeah. I would say that anyone looking for a traditional cavity back iron would need to put this into their rotation in the fit, along with a couple others.
It's awesome. It is awesome.
Nice.
Okay, sign us off with a pin seeker, Matty boy.
Okay, bud. Might be selling me a set.
He duly obliges.
Might be selling me a set. Yeah, I mean, they're right up there with the best feeling stuff we've tried recently. It's very, very good.
Yeah, that's a high praise indeed. Launch and spinner right where we would expect them to be for you. So one thing I will add, guys, is we are going to be very fortunate and going to have access to taking a set each of these out on the golf course. Too. Custom set.
Like heads of your choice, shafts of your choice, combo is on the table, I've heard.
Excited about that.
I think people should let us know in the comments what they want each of us to do.
Yeah.
We've kind of already chosen-ish, but I'm open to a little bit of input. I'm curious what people think would work.
Well, I think for us to test them, that is probably the best opportunity for us to see the attributes of each club in their best light is where we would play them.
Yeah.
Sometimes if a club is not really what we would play or we would like to game, it's going to fall outside our comfort zone in some way, shape or form, whether that's delivery or preference, aesthetics, all that sort of stuff. So I think the fact that we're going to have a set each built to our specs is going to be pretty cool.
And a round of golf to test them.
And a round of golf to test.
Love it.
Good stuff. Okay, guys, I mean, obviously you can tell that we're pretty pumped about this. We love getting new product in the door, especially when it looks, feels and performs as well as this. So definitely looking forward to the back end of this year seeing some new product. I think the Taylormade irons are going to be catching a lot of eyes. You'll see a lot of it on social media and you'll be hearing more about it from us. Stay tuned. We'll see you again soon.